John's legacy was supposed to be to go out killing the demon that killed Mary, not bargaining with it, and I am screaming that his legacy is you. That's why he saved you. Sam says that John literally saved so many people that his legacy now is those people, and someday the people that they save will be their legacy, and the people that they save because of what John taught them is also part of John's legacy. And I think that we're giving John way too much credit here, but like, if that's what it takes to get Dean out of his like horrible guilt trip, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but does it help? I don't know if it helps, you guys.
It has to.
What this actually gave me so much was saying the word legacy that many times in a sentence was first burn from Hamilton.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Damn, that parallel, actually.
I'm so glad I can provide this niche Broadway supernatural content. Sam asked if Dean was considering making the deal to save John, and Dean is quiet for a long time, and then he changes the station from the blues song that they're listening to, which is Key to the Highway by Big Bill Brunsey, to some obnoxiously loud unnamed rock song. Doesn't answer.
That's an answer.
Maybe
right?
he is. Maybe that's how he coped.
That's just like a representation of repressing your emotions.
Yeah.
It's just what it looks like.
It's not the first time that we've seen Dean not answer a question by changing the radio station. And it won't be the last. But that's it. That episode ends after Dean changes the channel. So we're going to go on to some weekly segments and panels. For Death Count, we had 2 deaths. We had Robert Johnson and Dr. Perlman.
They will be missed.
Bringing our on-screen total to 164. And then the on- and off-screen total of this episode was, I believe, 4. We had Robert Johnson, Dr. Perlman, Sean the Architect, and I assume George Darrow is also dead.
Safe to assume.
Because they didn't get him out of his deal, so I just am assuming that he died. Which puts our on and off screen total at 957 plus.
So close to 1,000, guys. Come on. just a few more deaths.
We also tried to assign MVP of the week, so let's see who everybody would like to nominate as this week's most valuable person. Let's start with Abigail.
I'm gonna go with Sam this episode. I think he is exhibiting like this compassion for people even when he doesn't know their full stories, and I think that's great. It's also really sweet to see him just like protective.
Yeah, that was nice. And Meredith.
I was gonna go with Dean. I thought he came in very nicely at the climax.
That's true.
Also, like, Devil's Trap on the ceiling is always just such a great move, and I love
Always
it whenever
my
they do that. Because no one ever looks at the ceiling.
They really should. And Jen.
I was gonna go with George Darrow. I don't know. He seemed like a pretty cool guy, except for the rampant cynicism, and he ends up inadvertently helping Sam and Dean with that case with introducing Goofer Dusts. And yeah, I also kind of like that he acknowledged his own big slip up resulting in more deals getting made. So
Yeah.
MVP.
Also, they used Goofer Dust after this episode, so
Yeah.
he was important for that reason.
Also,
too.
Yes.
I
yeah.
don't think they knew about Evan before they went to visit him either, so I don't think they would have found
True.
Evan either. I'm gonna give this one to, I guess, Dean as well, for not making the deal and for, like, actually, like, coming around despite his own, like, personal misgivings and, like, saving Evan. I thought that was good. Let's do the Bechdel test. Did we have 2 named women in this episode?
Did we?
I think we only had the one
Yeah.
that's actually named.
I
Shoot.
agree.
Damn. We've got like multiple female actors,
Yeah.
but most of them are either demons or not named.
Yeah, but yeah, basically we're on a really bad streak. Season 2 is, despite introducing Ellen and Joe as like regular female characters, we're doing way worse this season than last season.
Not regular enough, apparently.
This week's Case of the Week were hellhounds and demons. And does anyone have anything that they want to have in the mythology section? Anything they want to talk about?
Yeah, I have some notes on hellhounds and black dogs.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to start with the obligatory reminder that hellhounds are everywhere in mythology, and they're really fascinating in every culture they show up in, so I encourage all of our listeners to do more research. Personally, I'm partial to the Celtic and Germanic stuff. So to begin, we're defining a hellhound as a dog or dog-like supernatural creature associated with the afterlife. As was previously mentioned, supernatural or spectral dogs are all over the place in mythology. It's like we just really love dogs or something. We want them to be everywhere. Man's best friend. In some mythological traditions, you have these really important dogs with names and actual backstories. In Greek mythology, we have Cerberus, the 3-headed dog who guards the underworld, usually portrayed nowadays with 3 heads, though some ancient sources claim he also had a snake for a tail and more snakes around his neck, like a mane, which is really cool, and I want that to show up in more movies, but I guess not. If there's one thing you could count on in Greek mythology, and actually Egyptian mythology, it's snakes. Like, they're even more plentiful than dogs. They're just everywhere. They have so many snakes. Oh my gosh. In Norse mythology, there's a big wolf named Garmr, who is mentioned a few times in various primary sources. He's seen as a Norse version of a hellhound. He's also covered in blood, which is very charming. He's pretty similar to Fenrir in that he's associated with the goddess Hel, who is the keeper of the dishonorable dead, and his howling heralds the beginning of Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. So we're going to go to Welsh mythology now. Welsh mythology, by the way, is very significant because it's where England got a lot of its stuff, including King Arthur. The Welsh told stories of the Cún Annwn, or the Hounds of Annwn. Annwn was the Welsh otherworld, which is a beautiful paradise where the fairies lived. The Cún Annwn participated in the Wild Hunt, a whole other mythological thing we don't have time to get into, but Overly Sarcastic Productions on YouTube has a great video with it. So they would participate in the Wild Hunt with one of the kings of Annwn. Later, Christian interpretations turned these hounds into the Hounds of Hell, which were owned by Satan. Just a reminder that I'm pretty sure there's no devil in Celtic mythology, and the other world isn't hell. But when you're Christian in the Middle Ages, that doesn't really matter. The Cún Annwn became the more Christianized and equally fascinating black dog in English folklore, which is much closer to the hellhound that Supernatural uses. It's often associated with the devil, seen as malevolent or a death omen, and is a freaking huge dog with glowing red or yellow eyes. In some stories, it appears during violent storms or at crossroads, like here, or barrows, which are like old grave sites, lots of associated with fairies and whatnot. Crossroads also have a much longer tradition in Celtic mythology of being these supernatural places and are often where people would see death omens like banshees or washerwomen. Black dogs can also be really vicious. I can't remember which country it was, but it was either France or England, probably during the Middle Ages. People were at church doing church things when this enormous black dog stormed in, killed a couple of people, and left. Great, leaves a statement. Apparently it left behind these huge scratches on the church door that I think might still be around today. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up, but I don't feel like it. An honorable mention goes to the Cú Sí from Scottish and Irish mythology. Its name essentially means fairy dog, and it's obviously associated with the Sidhe, or the Fae. It's said to be the size of a bull, with shaggy, dark green fur, and a coiled or braided tail. It lives in rocky crevices in the Scottish Highlands, and was said to be a harbinger of death. Also, its aesthetic is way better than all of the dogs I've mentioned so far. Like green fur, braided tail, like it's a literal fairy dog.
I kind of want a large fairy dog. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like something I would like.
They also have fairy cats, by the way, the cat she. Just in case you're curious, the Scottish and the Irish are just winning at folklore.
You know I'm a dog person.
Well, here you have your fairy dog. Nowadays, dogs continue to be associated with the supernatural in pop culture. We have obvious examples like the Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Dracula's wolf form in the novel Dracula by Bram Stoker. But we also have stuff like Inuyasha, which is Japanese, but it still counts. Sirius Black in the Harry Potter series and the Never-Ending Story, and even All Dogs Go to Heaven, I'm counting that. Modern fantasy and science fiction is amazing because it keeps all these mythological motifs alive and evolving just as they've been doing for thousands of years. It's really, really interesting to analyze. In conclusion, humans love dogs until we don't, and until they murder people. It's fine.
Even then, I'm still on Team Dog.
It's like, I'm sure the dog had its reasons for storming into that church. We don't know what was going on.
That was excellent. And Jenn, you said you had something as well?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to talk really quickly about the legend of Faust. I know this is German, so forgive any pronunciation. But yeah, Faust is the protagonist of a classic German legend, and I wanted to talk about a later adaptation, but the basic idea there is that Faust ends up getting tempted by a demon for knowledge over religion, and then you end up having in the early 19th century that initial German legend adapted further by, I hope I can say this right, Johann Wolfgang Goethe.
Solid attempt, by the way.
I'm trying. But with that one, same thing. Faust is paired with that demon Mephistopheles. But I did just want to say what was interesting about that was same thing, that the demon had to be met and made a pact with at a crossroads, which we see in the episode. And also at least pointed out in that adaptation was that the demon would be serving Faust and do whatever he wanted while on Earth, and in exchange Faust would be serving the devil in hell. And part of the arrangement is that if he is ever pleased enough or experiences true happiness or contentment, that is when he will die and go to hell from there, which I thought was just kind of an interesting part of that story.
That hurts now.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
in the original novel for Phantom of the opera they're doing, like, throughout the novel is actually a version of Faust, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that either.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I thought that was interesting, especially that detail with the happiness part, but also the fact that they mentioned the crossroads specifically, and the fact that it's a German legend as well. So making pacts with the devil, we see it in Hoodoo, we see it in, all these other cultures. So thought that was neat.
Yeah, that was great.
It is neat. I'll have to do more research on that.
Okay, that brings us then to the highlight and lowlight of the episode, and let's start with Jenn.
Okay, let's see. Highlight. I just like the whole scene with the demon. She was so fun. I don't know. I really like when some demons can just have a good time with it, even if she's tormenting Dean the whole time. I enjoyed it, and because I guess you know what, she is right. Dean's misery is fun to watch. And then the best part, I think, is like the reveal that she was actually trapped the whole time, like you guys said, when the devil traps on the ceiling.
It's so
always
good.
like, wow, chef's kiss. Yeah. And then the low light, I mean, I feel like the whole episode was fine just because, again, I'm used to Dean's misery at this point, which is sad. But definitely the end there where Sam's like, hey Dean, you weren't actually gonna like sell your soul, damn yourself to hell forever. And Dean's like,
Let's just change the radio station real quick.
Oh my god. How did the rest of that drive go?
Right?
Like, did Sam ask again? Is it just silent for the next, 10 hours? Oh my god.
Questions
So
we'll never know
light.
the answer to. No, that's great. Abigail, how about you?
I think I'll start with my low light. I think my low light is with the painter. I just find that, his story is really, really sad. He gets what he wants, but he also is miserable and lonely and,
Yeah, he doesn't get any gratification out of it the way that some of the other people do.
And he's obviously, super talented and has so much to bring to the world, but, because of this deal, he feels just super, super trapped, and that has always been really sad in this episode to me. Highlight actually is from the same was talking about, but specifically, the trick that Dane pulls of, trying to get her into the car, and she's like, wait, there's a devil's trap, no. And then he, using that to evade her.
Yeah, he, faked it out.
He's faking it out, and I always, love a good fake out, and I love how Dean, plays that up of, oh, look at me, I'm not that smart. Wait, actually, I was smart the whole time. So I appreciate that in this moment.
That is very much Gene's MO, is being seen as less smart than he is.
Yeah.
He always plays that up.
In the scene a ton. I like that a lot in this scene. And there's a lot of good emotional stuff in that scene too, which I'm always here for.
Yeah. And Meredith.
Let's see. Low light, I'm gonna have to agree with Abigail. George's story was just really sad, and I guess the whole concept of the hellhounds and the demon deals is just very, very sad and frustrating to hear every time. But my highlight, I really love the opening scene because it's this cool flashback into the past. It's all creepy. It has awesome music. I can't think of a single thing wrong with it. It's just a very well done scene.
Yeah, I really enjoy that scene as well. Okay, I didn't write myself a highlight or a low light in my notes, so I would say my low light is probably that conversation between Sam and Dean at the end. Actually, no. Actually, it's the conversation where Dean wants to split up, and we go through the whole John sold his soul for Dean thing. I don't think it was necessary. I think they were just filling time. We already saw it this few episodes ago. I don't think we need to go over it again. But my highlight was probably the water tower thing. That was just good, and I enjoyed that scene a lot. And yeah, Dean feeling emotional pain is entertaining for 15 whole seasons. It's entertaining.
We're still watching. We hate it, but we're watching.
Yeah. Our next segment is Call CPS. I don't think I have anything for it. I'm not running to call CPS this week. I don't know if anyone else had anything that they had there.
Yeah, everyone endangered was an adult.
Not going to complain about that, I guess. Mental health check. I'm not a psychologist, so this segment is based purely on my own opinions and a weekly reminder that if you are struggling with anything at all, please reach out for help. This week was not a good week for Dean Winchester.
No. No, it was not.
His worst fears are, like, confirmed.
Yeah. He's, like, borderline suicidal. He's got some extreme survivor's guilt. Sam is being like, dude, I see what's happening here, and it's a problem.
I am fully of the mind that, like, if there had been, I don't know, I think there's a good solid chance that he trades his life for John's if the circumstances of the hunt are a little different. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's right on that verge of doing it.
Yeah, like, if, I don't know, if something was slightly different.